So, I'm a bridesmaid at my best friend's wedding in a couple of months, and I still don't know what makeup look I'm gonna do. This video will be my second attempt at finding the perfect soft glam neutral makeup look that is fit for a bridesmaid and beyond, obviously. And if you're on the same boat as me and you're kind of undecided whether you're doing your makeup yourself or someone else is doing your makeup but you don't know what you want, then this is a video for you. We're gonna figure this out together. We're gonna support each other in the quest for the perfect bridesmaid makeup look. Here's kind of the rundown of the look. This is what I'm imagining, what I'm envisioning. I wanna keep it neutral still. My dress is green if you haven't watched my first iteration of this whole makeup look attempt. So my dress is green, probably a dark green. Still don't have the dress either. So I wanna keep the makeup neutral. Last time we did grays. It was fun, cool look, very flattering, but not classy. Like I want it to be a little more class, you know? So this time around, we're sticking to browns. And I feel like that's gonna be softer. It's still gonna be flattering, but it's gonna be a little more easy, not harsh. Maybe this time around, I will add sparkle to see how it looks. Last time it was all mattes. This time it could be matte, but I wanna maybe incorporate the sparkle to see if I like the look or not, because that's very easy to take away if I don't enjoy it. I need the look to last, so we're playing with products to see which ones are longer lasting and, you know, how I'm gonna look my best day of. So that's kind of like the rundown. As always, I think I'm starting with my eyes because there's gonna be fallout, probably. Before I do that though, I wanna add a primer. I'm not usually a primer girl, but you know, when you're doing long-lasting makeup, you kind of need a primer, but also part of that for me, I sweat a lot on the face, on every part of my body, so I wanna try something that's not as grippy because I don't tend to have a lot of problems with my makeup fading, but I do tend to get oiliness showing through. I wanna use my Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Blurring Balm. This is a universal shade. I really love it. I do want to give it a bit of time to like sink in. Oh my god, I hit pan, what? I'm mainly adding it to the T-zone, which is my most problematic area when it comes to oil. But I do want to give this some time to sink into the skin so that it doesn't disrupt any other products. Oh my god, I didn't grab my primer. Let me go grab my primer, I kind of need it. Okay, primer has been acquired, the About Face Smoothing Shadow Fix. And I'm definitely gonna apply all over the lids. And before I actually go into my eyeshadow and set this, I kind of want to add a little bit of concealer in here because I won't have like the chance to do it later, you know? So I'm gonna go in with this Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector. I'm just gonna do this like here, right on the inner corner. Because I do have a bit of darkness in there, we need to brighten it up. I do have a sample of the Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer, which apparently is incredible. I have two shades, YP3 and R2, but we're gonna see if I like this enough to maybe buy it for the big day. Guys, my lighting is going insane. I'm sorry about that. It is very lightweight and a little bit goes a long way, actually. Okay, so far it's not covering as I expected it to, unfortunately, but we're gonna move past that. That is why this is a trial. My lighting, it's gonna give out any moment now, which, yeah, that sucks, but we're gonna persevere for now. I'm just gonna go in with some powder. This is a Milani blurring powder, and just set my lids so that we can go on top with some eyeshadow. For my eyeshadow, I'm primarily using the Danessa Myricks Groundwork Defining Neutrals palette, which is just a bunch of neutrals. I'm gonna keep more toward the cool tones. I'm starting off with this chiseled shade, and there's more of a creamy formula, which is the pan, the bigger pan, and then there's a powder formula, which is a smaller pan. Let me get started with the creamy pan and see how that works with a brush. I'm starting out in just the outer corner and like really packing the color there, and then I'm gonna diffuse it inward. It's pulling a lot warmer on me than I hoped it would, honestly, which kind of sucks, but that's fine. This is just our transition shade. It doesn't look too warm on the pan, but you know, things tend to look warmer on me. Then I'm going with the shade Stone, which is more of like this is one that is very cool tone. It's pulling very green, which kind of scares me because I don't want this to look green, but I do feel like it is my best chance at like a cooler toned shade. Maybe this is not the palette that I should be using, but it is just so versatile. Since it is a little bit deeper, I will be using it more on the outer corner, a little lower than the transition shade, and then I'm blending it into the transition shade, but I'm not bringing it all the way in. Okay, I am liking this shade a lot more. And to deepen this a little more, I'm gonna go in with a deeper brown. I'm gonna be using the shade Sculpted, the darker shade of Sculpted, not this one. And I'm really keeping this only to my outer corner. This is more of a chocolate brown, so it is a lot more neutral. Thankfully, these creamier shades don't really have a lot of fallout, so it makes things easier for me. And they blend out pretty well, so I'm just gonna add it to the outermost corner. And as always with colors like this, or when you're doing like a smokier look, you go back, you revisit, you blend, you add, always start with a little and then go in with more. That is how these kind of looks go. They're very simple, but you do need to take your time. And once that is sufficiently blended, I'm gonna go in with Sandstone, this kind of yellowy color right here, and I'm gonna apply it to my lids, kind of like the inner corner all the way to where it meets like the darkest part of the eyeshadow. This is kind of like a cleanup, but it literally just fixes everything and it kind of makes it look snatched, right? To top that, I'm going in with the same Sandstone shade, but the powder. It is a little deeper and more yellow, so we'll see how it works, but I just want to set that and like amp up the brightness, as you can see. Very easy. I'm also like bringing the brightness like in here to open up my eyes a little. One thing I'm noticing is that this side is very clean and this side is not as clean, and it's getting a little muddled with the light shade on top. So that's something I need to figure out. And then just to make sure that both are blended equally, I'm gonna go in with the same brush that I use for the deeper shade and just tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. I'm pretty pleased with what we've got going on. I do think I want to add some shimmer. Now the question is, where do I want to go with the shimmer? Do I want something super intense like the Patrick Ta Major Dimension eyeshadows? Maybe I could do the silver, or I could go softer with the e.l.f. Finest Fleck Glitter Shadow in the shade Champagne Showers. I'm gonna start with the e.l.f. one, I think, because it is a lot more forgiving and it is not as intense. And we'll see if I like that. I don't know what's going on with my light, but I need to fix it right now because I feel like I might die today. I really love the softness. Like, it gives a very, very soft, romantic feel to the look. But I kind of want to see how the Patrick Ta one works as well. So I think I'm gonna go in with a fluffy brush and just apply, because the Patrick Ta ones are very, very intense. And I will just apply a little bit to a fluffy brush and then apply that here, maybe to add a bit more like intensity. Maybe I do prefer the e.l.f. by itself. But I like this. I like this a lot, actually. It's bringing out a little more of that brightness that I wanted. Even though it's a soft glam look, I still need to do some eyeliner. So I'm using this Make It Forever Artist Color Pencil in Whatever Black because it is very, very easy to use and smudge. So I'm gonna use this on my tight line as well as my lash line, I believe. So we're tight lining first. And I'm going only about like halfway in so that it doesn't close out my eyes. Now I'm gonna go in with this and again, keeping it like halfway because I have smaller eyes, and just applying a thin line. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're smudging it out, so that's good. And then I'm gonna grab like a flat brush. Where is my flat brush? Something like this, and I'm gonna smudge out all of that liner. And to further smoke things out, I'm gonna go in with the shade Tourmaline, the black shade in the palette. And I might grab the powder instead of the cream just for longevity purposes so that I set that eyeliner. And if the liner thickens up a little bit, that's fine. It gives it a good look. That's why I wanted to start super thin so that if things, you know, go a little bit upward as they do when you smudge, it isn't like a super thick line. Once the liner has been properly smudged, we have to do the lashes, which I am definitely sweating about. Changing things up a bit this time around because I still haven't gotten to purchase my half lashes that I definitely want to use for the wedding. Today I'm using the Swede No Lash Lash. These are very delicate as well. So we'll see how it goes. I have my tweezers, I have my Duo Lash Glue. And I'm just gonna put a few on the outer corners. If you watched my last video, you know the drill. If you've been watching me for a while, you know that I'm not a big falsies girl, so this is hard for me. So I'm gonna speed through it, but I definitely think falsies give the look a little extra oomph. We will fast forward this whole segment so that you don't die of boredom. Lashes are on. Do they look great? I don't think they do. But I'm stressed, so this is as good as it's gonna get. I'm gonna wait for the glue to dry and then we're gonna do some mascara, okay? For mascara, I'm sticking with the YSL Lash Clash mascara for now because I still haven't gotten another one. I will be soon, and it will probably be waterproof. And I don't think I'm gonna curl my lashes because I'm afraid that the fake lashes are gonna go if I do so. So, sorry. I'm gonna do some mascara and hopefully meld both my natural lashes and the falsies. I'm gonna do my lower lash line once I've done my foundation and concealer, but for now, we're gonna do some brows before the rest of my face. Let me just boop, boop, boop. I'm using the Urban Decay Brow Blade. I'm gonna use the pencil side, and this is the shade Dark Drapes. So I'm just gonna even out the brows. I am setting with my Rare Beauty lifting gel, which I'm almost out of, but this is great, lovely. For the base, again, want to keep it more on the natural medium coverage side. Still don't have a foundation, but I think I'm going to experiment with my beautiful, lovely L'Oreal True Match Hyaluronic Tinted Serum. I'm gonna mix both of my shades, light and very light. And I'm gonna add a little bit of Inglot Duraline to see if this helps it last longer. I've seen this as a hack. I don't know if it works. We'll be testing it out today, so I'm excited. Before I do that though, I think I want to color correct a little with the same Becca under eye corrector. This is the shade light to medium. And I'm just gonna add the tiniest bit to where my under eyes are their darkest. Again, this is very emollient, so I don't wanna add a lot, just enough to brighten things up a little bit more. I've never added Duraline to any of my base products, so we'll see. This is an experiment. I'm excited to try it. I am mainly concentrating the coverage right on the inside of my face because it's where I need it most, and then I'll bring it out. And this gives me a very nice like satin finish, if a little bit glowy, because it does have a little bit of pearl in its formula, but it's not enough to look very glowy. Never forgetting the ears or the neck, and depending on the dress that I'll be wearing, maybe I'll have to bring it down to the chest as well. And I actually really enjoy the coverage that this gives me because it leaves everything very even though I have some breakouts, it's covering most of the redness, which I love. And if I need more coverage, I can go in with the concealer, and pinpoint that. So I really love that actually. Before I go in with my concealer though, I want to underpaint, okay? We're underpainting today because the last time I did this, I wanted to underpaint and I didn't. And I think underpainting is a great way to add longevity, but also make things look a little more natural. So I'm starting off with my contour slash bronzer. I don't do a lot of bronzer because I'm a deep winter and bronzer doesn't look good on me. So I mainly stick to contours because those look like bronzy shades on me. I'm using the e.l.f. Camo Liquid Bronzer and Contour in the shade Fair. And adding this like everywhere that I usually add bronzer. So like my cheekbones, which are obviously the place where I want to snatch the most, but also my forehead, my nose. Adding that warmth back in too. And I'm using a very, very small brush to be able to control the product better, and I'm priming the brush really well. And blending upward, always. Kind of doing a little bit of a fake nose contour. I don't really contour my nose, but I do like to add a little bit of that structure and warmth back in, and if I don't love it, then I'll go over it with my concealer. It's fine. Was I supposed to underpaint before doing my foundation? I definitely was. God, what's going on with me? Underpainting. Dude, I blanked. Again, it happened again. Fuck my life. At least I did it before my concealer, but yeah, anyways. Underpainting, what a concept that I clearly don't understand, even though I do. I'm sorry. There's a lot going on today with the lighting, with everything, so I don't know what was going on. Fuck my life. This is a little embarrassing, I'm not gonna lie to you. For cream blush, I'm using the Cloud Paint in Storm by Glossier. I love this shade, it's very flattering on me, and this formula is notorious for being long lasting. I love my Danessa Myricks that I used in the last video, but that one might not be as long lasting as this one. I like that shade a little better, but I think this shade could still work for me and my vision. So I'm starting off with a little. You're barely going to be able to see it, and then I can build it up if I want to. And then once I have enough blush on, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of the Iconic London Illuminator. And I'm, again, just adding the tiniest bit of this because this is very, very intense. And I don't want it to be very intense on me. I just want the tiniest hint of a glow, so. I'm using, again, that Natasha Denona concealer that I want to see if it's worth it. It's a little yellow, but I think I can make this shade work. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. I do feel it's like a little heavy, but that might just be me. Wow, it's really brightening. You can see it on camera. It really brightened things up. Okay, so it really does cover with only a little bit. I don't know why it didn't do that to my inner corner darkness. Maybe that is a little too dark for this, but it really is working to cover everything actually. It feels a little heavy, but that's fine. We'll see how this wears because now it's time for the powder. I'm using Milani Conceal and Perfect Blur Out Powder, and I'm obviously putting this everywhere because we need to set this makeup. It needs to be long lasting. And going in really lightly because I have a feeling, that this concealer does not pair very well with a powder, and I was right. It's curdling up a little, so we're marking another one off the list. This is not it. Let's move on to the rest of, oh, I need to do under eyes. Yes, I do. I'm gonna keep it very simple. Probably just gonna do like one color. So I'm probably gonna do Stone and put it all over my lower lash line. I don't want to do a lot in the lower lash line because this is a wedding. I will be crying probably. So want to keep it as mess free as possible. but I still do want to like tie it in. And I also want to add like whatever is left on this brush that we used to smudge out the liner. I do want to add a little bit to the outermost corner just to connect the darkness. Now to add my mascara, I'm gonna be using this little tiny fan brush right here, which I always use for lower lash mascara when I don't want to make a mess of things. Now that that's done, I can finish up the cheeks as well, starting off with my Maybelline City bronzer. This is nice. I still am on the hunt for a bronzer that doesn't turn super, like a powder bronzer that doesn't turn super orangey on me. This is like the closest I've gotten, at least in my collection, because it does look to be very cool tone, but once I apply it, it like really warms up my face. So it's not as bad as the one that I used in the last video, but it's still not as cool tone as I want it to be. Maybe I will just need to get like a contour powder and use that as my bronzer. God, I'm realizing I'm gonna need quite a few things, but I'm just adding some extra warmth to my face, extra color, extra longevity for the contour that I applied before. Now I'm gonna go in with a little bit of my Essence Pure Nude highlighter, which I love so much. And I'm gonna apply this before applying my blush so that the blush, bronzer, and highlighter can meld together when I apply that. But I'm just, again, keeping this to the like highest point of my cheekbones. I don't want it to be super intense, but I want it there to be a little bit of that. Maybe add a little bit to the brow bone for a little bit more interest there. And to the inner corner, perhaps, to add a little bit more brightness. Ooh, I like that. Let's go down the nose, a little bit on the Cupid's bow. And then for my blush, I'm using the Inglot. This is a shade that I always use that I never remember the name of. This is the Freedom System Luscious Cheek Face Blush in 127, which is my perfect mauve. I love it so much. I'm gonna use the same brush because it's tiny and delicate, and I will be packing this on my face. Blush is the first thing to go, so as I said in my last video, if you look a little bit like a clown, it's fine. It's necessary so that the blush can last. And then if I want to clean things up a little, I'm going to go in with my foundation brush and just make sure everything is chiseled out here. And once that's done, all we have left are the lips. I'm keeping my lip combo, okay? Because I really, really, really love it. If you have a different lip combo that you think would rock, tell me. Please tell me, like the perfect, like glossy, nude, pink, that is just so flattering on everyone. Let me know. But for now, I'm sticking to mine. Refine Mauve Blur Liner first to overline, because I have small lips. Then NYX Slim Lip Pencil in the shade Nude Beige to define, contour a little bit more. And then lastly, I'm using my Finding Ferdinand gloss in the shade Thorn. These glosses are gorgeous, okay? And this is like the perfect shade, like my lips, but better pink shade. And I know that a gloss is not long lasting, but it is very easy to reapply. And it is very comfortable. Okay, and once the lips are done, we need to set everything with the One Size Until Dawn mattifying setting spray. This is just like the longest lasting, I think. So we're using this. I like this. I like this look a lot. Love the base. I'm loving the base except for the concealer. On camera, it's not looking that bad. In person, it's looking pretty crepey and like I'm 45 years old approximately, so will not be the concealer for me. But listen, everything else is looking gorgeous. I love the eyes. I think I definitely have to go with brown. Maybe I'll try another palette and see if I can find more cool tones, but this is looking really good to me right now. It looks very classic. I love the slight shimmer. What do we think? How are we feeling? I feel a lot better about this than I did the first look. That first look looked gorgeous, but it wasn't evoking the same feelings that this look is evoking right now. I think it's safe to say that this second attempt, total success. total success. There are a few tweaks that I do want to make, like changing out the concealer. If you have any good concealer recommendations that aren't super thick under the eyes but are full coverage, let me know. I definitely think this is more of a look that suits everyone. The browns are classic and you can switch them out for warmer browns or cooler toned browns depending on your, color analysis. And also, switch out the lip, the blush, the bronzer. You can really customize and make it your own, but the base of this look works on every single person. So if you are a soon-to-be bridesmaid, wedding guest, or someone who just wants a good soft glam look for a special occasion, yeah, I think we got it. I think we did it, okay? Try this out and let me know. And also, if you have been a bridesmaid before, or you do a lot of like special events makeup, and you know of products that are long lasting, you know of products that look good on camera, like pictures, but also in person, tell me all your tips, tricks, product recommendations, please. I will try everything out at this point. But I think we did it, you guys. I think you and I, we did it. One thing checked off the list. Thank you for sticking with me through the thick and thin of this video. It was quite chaotic at times. So thank you so much. I hope this was helpful, educational, inspirational, fun, whatever this was for you. I hope you had fun watching. I love you and I hope we get to do this soon. Not this exact thing, but like just hang out soon, okay? You promise you'll be back? Subscribe? Maybe? I don't know. Bye! Mwah.